fellow Africans, fellow Nigerians, fellow Afros, black race, Arabs, colored, white, whatever is your color, your language, your dialect, whichever part of Africa you are. From the northern part of Africa, I greet you. I greet you, the Egyptians. From the eastern part of Africa, I greet you, the Kenyans. From the southern part of Africa, South Africa, Soweto, I greet you all. Namibia, Southeast Africa, I greet you. Central Africa, Cameroon, Gabon, I greet you. From the western part of Africa, I greet you, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Ivorians, Somalians, everyone, whichever part of Africa you are coming from, wherever you are watching from. We are one. We have only one Africa. There is no two Africa. And Africans, what we need to do is how to make Africa a better place for people to live. Now, I want you to look at this picture now. You can see the so-called African leaders gathering in Ethiopia for African Union meeting. Now, but the question is, why did they gather in Ethiopia? What was their mission? What do they have in mind? Did they gather in Ethiopia to resolve the problem of Africa or to augment the problem of Africa? Did they gather in Africa to ask themselves question why their children, African children, why is it that from the north down to the south, east and west of Africa, Africans are running away from their own land into other territories to seek better life? Why can't they gather together to discuss how to resolve African problem? Look at this picture very well that I am showing you. See all of them, the so-called African leaders, they gathered in Ethiopia today to discuss very, very important matters, issues that concerns the betterment of Africans. Oh, did I say the betterment of Africans or how to bring Africans out of poverty? Did I say that? Yes, but no. They gathered in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, to discuss how to expose Israel. So Israel is the problem of Africa. There are conflicts all over the world. We have the conflict in Europe. What are the Europeans doing? Russia, Ukraine, there's crisis going on that is affecting everybody. Why is the crisis in Ukraine affecting Europeans? It is because they think about how to resolve their problems. The Europeans, when they gather together, they gather to see how can we make this continent better for our own children and for other children or immigrants who are coming in. How can they live safely in our continent? If you go to South America, you found that there are problems. But when the South communities, nations come together, they think of how can we resolve our problem, the conflicts within South America. They don't create conflicts. But African Union, today, 18th of February, 2023, disgraced an Israeli diploma who attended African Union meeting because he is an Israelite. South Africa has been fighting a cause, a cause that has nothing to do with them. South Africans are going hungry. There's conflict within South Africa. In South Africa, fellow Africans are murdered on the streets. Why? Because South Africans feel and found a problem. They feel that jobs are taken away from them. They feel insecure. The government of South Africa, led by ANC, an organization that was formed to cater for their own people, do not care about South Africa. The leaders of ANC care much about their own pockets and to please foreign nations. South Africans are going hungry. South Africans are lacking jobs. And that is why you see in South Africa sometimes conflicts will just rise. You see fighting other fellow African brothers, depriving them of their livelihood. Why? Because the leaders of South Africa are doing nothing, but they are busy fighting Israel. Now, African Union gathered together, African leaders, presidents, kings, and whatever you call them, gathered in Addis Ababa. I was thinking that the gathering will focus on how African problem can be resolved, how they can stop the immigration of their people into other countries, how we can make Africa better, how we can resolve the conflict that is prevalent in all nations, in all states of Africa. Now in Nigeria, there has been killings going on for donkey time and donkey years. There's been tribalism, and even the present president, you can see him in this picture that I am showing you. President Buhari was there in Addis Ababa, and he is one of the leaders of African Union. And there is conflict in Nigeria that has been especially fired up by his presidency, 8 years in government. There's been division in Nigeria. There's been killing by the headsmen, by the unknown gunmen in the east, in the north, in the northeast, northwest, in the middle belt. People are killed in their homes. Homes are destroyed, farms are destroyed, people are murdered. But the president cares more about other people, other nations. They care more about creating problem for Africa, creating enmity between other country, a country that will be of benefit to Africans, that can provide solution to African problem, Israel. When we Africans wake up, Africa, where does your problem come from? Is Israel your problem? Israel is just a tiny nation. Israel is just one tiny nation that is not even up to 12 million in population. Yet, Israel is the problem of Africa. This tiny nation, you can see Israel will be of benefit to Africans if Africans want to solve their problems. We make friends with Israel. Listen, you don't hate a man that is succeeding. African mentality is you hate your brother when you see your brother is moving forward. And that is why we are stagnated. And that is why we find ourselves going round the table, going round the table. You don't move forward. Near success syndrome. When it looks, it seems that Africa has woken up, something will just happen. Because Africans don't learn from the past mistakes. And if you don't learn from your past, you cannot better your today, and your tomorrow is gone. And that is what Africa is facing. We have intellectuals, we have capable hands and brain. Some people think that Africans are not intelligent. Who told you that? We have some of the best brains in the world, all over the places, doing well the moment they leave Africa. Why can't we listen to these people? No. Because the violent men, the wicked are the people that we allow to lead Africa. And that is why all these are happening. Can't we learn from those who are succeeding? Israel is a successful nation. Africa cannot pull Israel down. Africa, even if you like, expose Israel. I want break all the relationship with Israel. You cannot bring Israel down. If America, as great as America is a friend of Israel, if Saudi Arabia is indirectly a friend of Israel, if UAE, United Arab Emirates, one of the best countries, the richest countries you can think about, an Arab nation, is a friend of Israel, why can't Africans learn from them? Why are you creating enmity with a country that can be of help to all African nations and provide solution to Africa's problem? Israel can be of help. Why are you fighting Israel? Is Israel in Africa? Has Israel taken your territories? Is Israel invading any of your land? Are Israelites there taking your oil, gas, gold, diamonds? What is the problem of Africa? Why are Africans always fighting Israel? If someone's house is burning, does the man go after rats, chasing of rats? While your house is burning, hunting rats that are running out of your burning house instead of you quenching the fire. That is what African leaders are doing. Instead of them quenching the fire that is burning down Africa, they are busy chasing rats and creating problems, enmities. If Africans can make friends with a country like Israel and learn how those few people that came out of terrible genocide, over 6 million, they counted over 6 million Jews were murdered. But between 1945, when the World War ended, and 1948, how many years? 3 years, the Jews were able to have a nation. And between 1948, when Israel was established, and 1970, Israel became one of the world's recognized powers. When I say powers, and between that time to date, economically, scientifically, and otherwise, Israel can stand and feed nations. Israel can stand for themselves, fight for themselves, protect their own children. Israelites don't go about killing themselves, destroying themselves, fighting themselves. What you see is just disagreements here and there. Israel is a nation that wants to move forward. There could be problems here and there, but you do not create problem with someone who will be of help to you, who does not hate you, who does not want to pull you down, who wants to be a friend. You do not create enmity with such a person that have nothing to do with robbing you, with disrupting your success and prosperity. You do not create enmity with such a person. Israel is ready to be a good friend of Africa. But African leaders are always fighting Israel, the only one Jewish nation in the world, a tiny nation that have nothing to do with depriving Africa of their riches and wealth. Did Israel colonize you? Why are you always fighting Israel? You, South Africa, what is your problem? Solve the problem in South Africa first. Charity begins at home. The president of Nigeria, you've not resolved the problem with him, and you are crying over spilled milk in other countries, spilled milk in other places. When you have your nation in disarray, when people cannot buy fuel to fuel the cars, when people cannot even withdraw money from their own money banked in the bank, you are busy, oh Mr. Buhari, fighting for other people. You are busy creating enmity for Nigeria. It is time African leaders woke up. These are some of the reasons why great African leaders are not given chances. This is some of the reason why they don't see the light of day. This is some of the reason why. What you prefer to do is to hate yourself and fight yourself, then make peace for other people. You want Israelites to make peace with other nations before you accept them, isn't it? Oh, that's a very good ideology, a very good philosophy. You know, peace is important. Peace. We need to live in peace with our neighbors. But my question is, Africans, are you at peace with each other? Cross-border problems in Africa is prevalent. Cross-border problems, where African hatreds, that is where you see it. When you leave one African country to another, you will see what is called racism. We think that white people are racist. Come to Africa and see how we hate ourselves. We black, we hate ourselves. We are racists. We are racist against ourselves. Now, I am even talking of Africa in general, but let's come to our own country, our own place called Nigeria, where you see if you are from the northern part of Nigeria and the other person is from the southern part of Nigeria, you regard yourselves as not brothers. You see what is called racism, tribalism going on to the extent that one can eliminate the other. So it is east and western part of Nigeria crisis. Western part of Nigeria and the Middle Belt crisis. They don't like each other. But this is one of the reasons why African Union should work. This is one of the reasons why African leaders should gather in Addis Ababa to discuss how all these conflicts can be resolved. But they are not doing that. In Nigeria, we have crises. None of them are resolved. Nor have the leaders even tried to resolve it, not to talk of African nations in general. Have you been to the northern part of Africa as a black man and see how you are treated? And an Arab man that enters black nation, you see how you are treated. We are treated as if we are not equal, as if we are not Africans. We look down on each other. Racism within Africa. And I am talking of within Africa. But let's even come down to villages. In my own tribe, you see a fellow tribesman telling you that you are from another state. Therefore, you are inferior to him. And even within your own state, somebody will tell you that you are from this village. We are not equal. I cannot even rent my house to you because you are from another village. When are we going to change this mentality, oh Africa? Africa, where does your problem come from? Your problem come from you, not white people. We keep on talking about marginalization, about racism in the diaspora, but we are racist against ourselves. We do not love ourselves. We want to destroy ourselves. We do not care about ourselves. Resolve your problems, oh African leaders, before you begin to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian problem. The Palestinians, the Arabs are better off. They have good plans for themselves. They know what they want. But Africans, do you know what you want? No. But you can expound solution to other people's problem. But you don't even know the problem you have, and the problem is right there before your nose. And you cannot pinpoint them to solve them. We should not be creating problems for Africans. We should not be creating enemies for Africans. We should make friends. The Palestinian-Israeli problem is a problem that Africa needs to be neutral, completely neutral. We should have Palestinians as our brother. We should have the Israelis as our brother. We should call them together always. It is a difficult situation. They are the Abrahamic children. They are one people. They are one people with conflict that is between them, which with time could be solved. But that conflict cannot be solved by you siding another. You cannot side one and hit the other one and throw the other one away. The only way this problem can be solved is if African Union wants to contribute after they have resolved their own internal problems, is to sit them together. We will have Palestinian embassy in Africa. We will have Israeli embassy in Africa. We will talk to them as friends, as brothers. Our opinions, we cannot solve the problem. They need to sit together, both of them, and resolve their problem. Africans don't even know what is going on there. African leaders don't even know what the problem is. can you solve a problem you don't know where the problem is coming from, the root of the problem? You don't even know the root of the problem. So you can't solve it. You cannot side the Israelites, nor should you side the Palestinians. These are brothers. Yes, they are brothers. But within brothers, there are always conflicts. Just like those problems we have in Africa that Africans have not been able to resolve among themselves, that is conflicts, brotherly conflicts. Conflicts within Africa, within states, within tribes that have not been solved. That is how it is with the Palestinian problem. In Nigeria, the North, the Biafran war, all the problems, the crisis, the herdsmen killing, the farm problem, farmers, herdsmen problems, they are there. We are brothers. One day all these problems will be resolved. But what do you think if somebody from Cameroon comes and say, hey, I support the herdsmen, or the other one say, hey, I support the farmers, therefore herdsmen? No, what you do is, how can we solve this problem between these two people? Don't side anyone. Don't create enemy. May God help Africa. We have all it takes to be great continent, because we are blessed from Egypt to Nigeria to Kenya to South Africa. Africa is great, but our leaders have made Africa to become a caricature to the world, a laughing stock to the world community. Why? Because they don't even know what they are doing.